Caught in lingerie. Now mom's making me wear it daily. I never thought a single mistake, one impulsive, reckless decision, could change everything. But the moment I slipped into her lingerie, the world I knew began to unravel. My name is Ryan Carter. I'm 20, a sophomore in college, and I live at home to save money. From the outside, I'm your average guy, quiet, responsible, maybe a bit nerdy. I study computer science, work part-time at a local tech store, and I have a beautiful girlfriend, Emma, who I've been dating for almost a year now. No one would ever suspect my secret. No one even knows I have one. It started as a curiosity, just a passing thought. I'd always admired how confident Emma seemed when she dressed up. The way a tight dress hugged her curves, how her heels made her walk like she owned the world. There was something powerful in it, something magnetic. And somewhere deep down, I wanted to feel that too. I never dared to tell her. Not Emma. She was supportive, sure, but she also made little jokes sometimes about manly men, about how she liked guys who took charge. I was afraid that if she knew, she'd see me differently. She'd laugh, or worse, leave. So I kept it all inside. But the temptation kept growing. I found myself browsing makeup tutorials at 2 a.m., staring a little too long at mannequins in store windows, wondering what that silky camisole might feel like against my skin. I even considered buying something online, but I chickened out. The fear of someone finding the package was too strong. Then came last Saturday. Emma was away on a weekend trip with her friends. My mom had gone to visit my aunt in the next city. I had the whole house to myself, something rare and golden. I should have been studying, finishing that project due Monday. But my eyes kept drifting to my mom's closet. She was a fashion consultant, a glamorous woman who treated every day like a runway show. Her wardrobe was enormous. Lace-trimmed dresses, silky blouses, towering heels, and yes, rows of luxurious lingerie in every shade and style. I told myself it was just curiosity. One quick peek. Just a second. But when I reached out and touched a pale pink satin slip, it was like my fingers burned. My heart pounded. My breath caught. It felt so soft. I don't know what came over me, but within minutes, I had stripped out of my hoodie and jeans and pulled the slip over my head. It slid down my chest, hugging me in places I didn't expect. I could barely recognize the reflection staring back at me in the mirror, vulnerable, nervous, and yet fascinated. I added a pair of lacy white panties, then a matching bra. Stuffed it with some tissue for shape, just to see. And then, well, I couldn't stop. Before I knew it, I had brushed on a little blush, painted my lips a subtle rose, and pulled out a pair of nude stockings from her drawer. They clung to my legs like second skin. My legs looked incredible. Long, smooth, feminine. I wasn't just dressing up. I was becoming someone else. I twirled once in front of the mirror, the hem of the slip fluttering around my thighs. A giggle escaped my lips. I looked pretty. It was intoxicating. But then, like a whip crack, I heard the unmistakable creak of the front door. Someone was home. My heart slammed against my ribs. I tore off the heels, stumbled out of the room, and peered down the stairs, my face still full of makeup, wearing her lingerie. And that's when I saw her.
Mom.
She stood frozen, grocery bags in hand, staring up at me like she'd seen a ghost. For a moment, time stopped. Neither of us moved. Her expression unreadable. My breath locked in my throat. Then she said 5 words that shattered me. Ryan, what are you wearing? I tried to speak. I wanted to lie, to laugh, to say it was a dare or a prank. But my voice caught. Tears stung my eyes. I expected yelling.
Shame.
Maybe even disgust. But instead, she set the bags down slowly, walked up the stairs without breaking eye contact, and said something that terrified me even more. That was 3 days ago. Since then, everything's changed. I thought she'd be furious. I thought I'd be punished, or, at the very least, grounded until the end of time. But instead, she's making me wear it again. Every day. Different outfits. Different looks. She says I need to explore this side of myself properly, now that the secret's out. She acts like it's normal. Like I'm just another one of her fashion clients. And the scariest part? Part of me doesn't want to stop. But what about Emma? What if she finds out? What happens if this becomes me? All right, Ryan, Mom said the next morning, holding a hanger in one hand and a makeup brush in the other. Today, we're starting with the basics. I sat nervously on the edge of her bed, wrapped in a silk robe she insisted I wear after my shower. The air smelled of her perfume, sweet jasmine and warm amber, and it clung to my skin. She was acting like this was normal, like I hadn't been caught in one of the most humiliating moments of my life the day before. Mom, I don't think. She turned sharply. Honey, you already crossed a line yesterday. There's no going back. I don't want to shame you, but I am going to guide you. If you're going to try on my lingerie without asking, you'll learn how to wear it properly. I gulped. That wasn't exactly a punishment, but it wasn't a reward either. I wasn't trying to be creepy, I mumbled.
She softened.
I know. That's why I'm not mad. But you can't sneak around. If you're curious, you need structure. Guidance. That's what I'm here for. With that, she handed me a set, lace-trimmed lavender panties and a matching bralette. Then came the high-waisted shapewear. Then a soft lilac slip that clung like a whisper. Standing in front of the mirror, I barely recognized myself. Mom stepped behind me.
See?
With the right shape and support, you're actually quite delicate. The words made my stomach flutter, but also ache. Delicate? She had me sit at her vanity while she brushed foundation across my cheeks, added blush, and lined my eyes. It was methodical, clinical, like I was one of her clients. I used to do this for brides-to-be, she said. You have your father's cheekbones, but with the right contour. She leaned in, brushed powder across my jaw.
There. Softer.
Feminine. I was stunned by the person staring back at me. Was this really me? Day 2. First close call. The next day, the routine continued. Mom insisted I learn to walk in heels. You'll thank me later, she said as she laced me into a pair of silver pumps. My legs shook as I wobbled down the hallway, trying to mimic the graceful stride she demonstrated. But the constant clack of the heels on hardwood filled the house like a warning bell. Halfway through my shaky parade, the doorbell rang. I froze. Mom's eyes went wide. Back in my room now. I practically sprinted, heels slipping on the floor. Just as I dove behind her closet door, she answered it. It was the neighbor, Mrs. Langford. Friendly. Nosy. They chatted for what felt like hours while I stood trembling, heart racing, dressed in a satin robe and lacy thigh-highs. The thrill and the terror twisted inside me until I could hardly breathe. When the door finally shut, I emerged, pale and sweaty. That, Mom said with a raised brow, is why we plan things. Internal struggles, the thrill and the guilt. By the third day, I wasn't protesting as much. There was a strange comfort to the process. The ritual, the brush of mascara, the zip of a dress. Each layer peeled away part of my old self, and yet, I wasn't sure what I was becoming. I should have been ashamed, disgusted. But I wasn't. I was addicted. Still, a voice in my head whispered reminders of danger. What if Emma finds out? What if someone at work sees something? And then worse, what if you don't want to stop? Each night, I lay in bed replaying the day. The way the stockings hugged my legs. The soft click of my heels on tile. The satisfied look on Mom's face when I applied eyeliner without help. But underneath it all, a pit of dread grew. This wasn't sustainable. Someone was going to find out. Day 4, the phone call. Emma called, Mom said casually as she applied blush to my cheeks. I stiffened. What did she say? She's coming back early. Tomorrow. I dropped the lipstick I was holding. Tomorrow? I had planned for more time. More practice. More distance. What am I going to do? Mom tilted her head. Do you want to tell her? No. I snapped a little too quickly. I mean not yet. Not like this. She nodded, calm as ever. Then you'll have to be careful. That night, I tried to sleep, but anxiety churned in my chest. What if Emma showed up unexpectedly? What if she walked in on me mid-makeup, in full lingerie? The idea made my stomach twist. But so did the idea of never dressing again. Day 5. Trying to quit. The next morning, I told Mom I wasn't feeling it, that maybe I should stop.
She didn't argue.
Instead, she laid out a simple bra and panties set on my bed. Pale blue with white lace. If you're done, that's fine, she said softly. But if you're only quitting because you're scared, not because you want to, then you're just lying to yourself. Her words followed me all day, like a ghost. By evening, I was back at the mirror, slipping the lingerie on with trembling fingers. Day 6. Emma returns. Emma arrived in the afternoon, suitcase in hand, face glowing from her trip. I wore a hoodie and jeans. No makeup. No traces of anything. She hugged me tightly, kissed me like nothing was wrong. But something was wrong. I couldn't look her in the eyes for more than a few seconds. Guilt clung to me like smoke. That evening, as we watched Netflix on the couch, she leaned her head on my shoulder. "I missed you," she whispered. "Everything okay?" "Yeah," I said, voice catching. "Just tired." She looked at me for a second too long, then kissed my cheek. But the worst part of me wished I was wearing the lavender slip under my clothes. Day 7. A suspicious glance. The next morning, Emma rummaged through the bathroom drawers. She held up a lipstick tube. "Hey, is this yours?" My heart stopped. It was a rosy pink shade I had forgotten to put away. "No," I said quickly. "Must be Mom's." She nodded, but her eyes lingered. Later that night, I caught her staring at me across the dinner table. Quiet, thoughtful. And just before bed, she asked the question I had been dreading. "Are you hiding something from me?" The next morning, I stood in front of the mirror again. Foundation applied, lips painted in a soft coral, my mom's vintage robe draped over my figure. The bra underneath felt like second skin now. Familiar. Comforting. I told myself it would be the last time. One final session before I buried it all for good. Mom hovered behind me, adjusting my posture, brushing a stray hair behind my ear. "You look calm today," she said. "I feel like a liar." She sighed. "You can't live your whole life pretending, sweetheart. That's not peace. That's hiding." Before I could respond, a soft voice floated down the hallway.
"Emma."
"Ryan," she called. "Do you know where my phone charger is?" I panicked. Mom's eyes went wide. She pointed to the walk-in closet. "Go now." I didn't hesitate. I grabbed the robe's hem and ran, heels clicking as I ducked into the closet, shutting the door with shaking hands. My breathing came in short bursts. Through the slats, I saw Emma enter the room. She stopped, looked around,
Frowned.
"Is someone here?" she asked. Mom was cool as ever. "Just me. Ryan's in the shower." Emma paused again, her eyes scanning the vanity. Her brows drew together. And then she did something terrifying. She picked up a makeup brush. "This wasn't here last night." Mom shrugged. "I was using it this morning." Emma stared at her, lips pressed tight. "You're not the only one wearing it, are you?"
Silence.
I held my breath so long my lungs ached. But Mom only smiled and changed the subject. Somehow it worked. But Emma didn't look convinced. Emma was quieter the next day. Kind, yes, but distant. She watched me with a sort of caution. She touched my arm with hesitation. She studied my face longer, like trying to read invisible ink. And then over lunch, she said it. "You're acting different." I choked on my soda. "What?" "Not in a bad way. Just," she tilted her head. "Softer. More. I don't know. Introspective." I forced a laugh. Maybe I'm just stressed. But the pit in my stomach grew. The more I tried to bury this side of me, the more it clawed at the surface. And Emma wasn't the only one noticing. At work, my coworker Jason made a joke. "Hey, Carter, your skin looks clearer. You using your girlfriend's stuff?" Everyone laughed. I did too. But it wasn't funny. He was right. That night, I made a choice. Emma was going to her cousin's engagement party. I wasn't invited. Her family still didn't like me much. Mom was at a client meeting. The house was mine for 5 hours. I stared at the wardrobe for a long time. Then I opened it. I pulled out a burgundy slip dress with a low back, matching heels, and black lace stockings. It took nearly 40 minutes, but when I looked in the mirror, I didn't just look feminine. I looked stunning. I walked carefully down the stairs, just to feel the movement, the way the dress swayed against my legs. I even practiced a few poses in the living room mirror. Over-the-shoulder glance, lip bite, shy smile. It felt good. Too good. But just as I reached for my phone to maybe take a selfie, the front door creaked. I spun. It was Emma. Her eyes locked on me, wide, disbelieving, horrified. For a heartbeat, we didn't move. Then, "Oh my God," she whispered. "Ryan." I opened my mouth, but no words came. The silence after Emma said my name felt like a knife hanging in midair. She stared at me, at the burgundy dress clinging to my body, the stockings hugging my legs, the heels I was frozen in. Her eyes trailed up to my face, where I still wore mascara, lip gloss, and a dusting of blush. "Say something," she said, her voice tight. "Tell me this is a joke." My throat closed. "Emma, I didn't mean for you to see me like this." She blinked. "Then how was I supposed to see you?" I stepped back, wobbling slightly into heels. "Please, just let me explain." Her mouth opened, then closed. She sat down hard on the couch, her hands gripping her knees. "You've been sneaking around behind my back, wearing lingerie." "I wasn't trying to betray you," I said, barely above a whisper. I didn't know how to tell you." She looked away. "Tell me what, Ryan?" I hesitated. "That I've been exploring something. About myself." She let out a sharp breath, somewhere between a laugh and a sob. "With my mom's clothes?" "No," I winced. "Mostly my mom's. But sometimes yours." Her head whipped toward me. "What?" I didn't mean to. It just started. And once I did, I couldn't stop. The room felt suffocating. I could hear the clock ticking, the wind rattling the glass outside. She stood slowly, her expression unreadable. "How long?" I swallowed. "A few months." She nodded, as if computing everything at once. "So the makeup in the bathroom, the lipstick, the way you've been acting." Tears welled in my eyes. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie to you. I was just afraid." "Of me?" I nodded. She looked away. "You should have trusted me." And then she left the room. I collapsed onto the carpet, hugging my knees. The wig shifted slightly. I tore it off, pressing my fingers to my temple. I wanted to throw everything out. Rip off the stockings, scrub my face raw, bury every dress in the backyard. But even in the middle of the storm, I knew the truth. This wasn't just a game or a mistake. This was me. And Emma had just seen it all. I stayed there for over an hour, crying numb, barely moving. Then Mom came home. She found me sitting in the hallway, half undressed, makeup smudged, eyes red. "She saw," she asked gently. I nodded. "And?" She left. Mom knelt in front of me, lifting my chin. "This was bound to happen. Maybe it's better she knows." "She hates me."
"No."
"She's just hurt. Confused." A pause. "She might come back. But even if she doesn't, this isn't the end." "It feels like it." She hugged me. "You're not broken, Ryan. You're just beginning to understand who you really are." The symbolic moment. Later that night, I stood in front of the full-length mirror again. The same dress lay on the floor, crumpled and sad. My heels had been kicked off one halfway under the coffee table. I stared at myself, half boy, half girl. Lip gloss fading, hair disheveled, a dual image. Then I reached down and picked up the dress. I slipped it back on. This time I didn't cry. I walked slowly to the mirror and stared at my reflection. The person looking back was still fragile, still unsure. But she wasn't ashamed. She was real.
The twist.
The next day, Emma texted me. "We need to talk. Can I come over tonight?" My heart jumped. I didn't know what to expect. Anger, maybe.
A formal goodbye.
But part of me hoped. I spent all day pacing the house. Mom helped me clean up. I Even ironed my hoodie and jeans, trying to look as normal as possible. When the doorbell rang, I nearly dropped my phone. Emma stood there in a beige trench coat, arms folded, face unreadable. She stepped inside, her eyes scanning the room like it held secrets. I needed time to think. "Okay," I said, voice shaking.
She turned to me.
I was shocked. I am shocked. But I'm not stupid. I know what I saw wasn't just a fluke. I opened my mouth to apologize again, but she held up a hand. "I want honesty, Ryan. No more lies. No more hiding. You tell me the truth now, or we're done." I nodded slowly. It started with curiosity. It became comfort. And now, it's who I am. I don't want to stop. She inhaled sharply. "So, what does that mean?" "I don't know. I just know I'm not pretending anymore." She stared at me for a long time. Then, very slowly, she stepped closer. "I'm not saying I understand. Not fully. But I want to try." My breath hitched. "You do?" "I care about you," she said. "But this changes things. We'll have to rebuild trust. I'll do anything." She gave a sad smile. "Then be honest. From now on." She turned to leave. But at the door, she looked over her shoulder.
"One more thing," she said.
I found something else. My stomach dropped. "What?" She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out her red satin nightgown. "You wore this too." It wasn't a question. I froze. And then she said it, soft but sharp. "Your secret's not just between us anymore." That night, I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at my reflection again. I thought I had reached the end of this journey.
But now,
I wasn't sure where it was going. If Emma knew about the nightgown, and someone else had told her. Who else knew? My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You looked beautiful in that red nightgown. Want to know who I am?" My blood turned cold. Someone else had seen me. I stared at the message on my phone for what felt like an eternity. "You looked beautiful in that red nightgown. Want to know who I am?" My hands shook as I reread it. My mouth had gone dry. My heart thumped so hard it echoed in my ears. This wasn't a prank. Someone real, had seen me. In Emma's gown. In full makeup. In her house. And they had my number. 1,000 questions raced through my head. Asterisk who? You said. Emma's fingers held the red satin nightgown like it was radioactive. "I found it stuffed behind the dresser," she said coldly. "Tucked away like a secret." I froze. That was her gown. I had worn it one night when Mom was out and Emma was still traveling. I thought I'd hidden it carefully. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I shouldn't have touched it." "That's not the issue," she replied. "The issue is, why was it back there? And how did someone else know?" I blinked. "What do you mean?" She held up her phone. My blood ran cold as I saw the screen. A message, sent from a blocked number. "Your boy looked real good last night in your red gown. Tight fit, too." "I thought it was a prank," she said. But after today, I staggered backward, mouth dry. "Someone saw me?" Emma nodded slowly. "Either someone saw you, or someone took a picture." I felt sick. The room tilted. All the air vanished. Mom found me moments later, pacing the hallway in a panic. My dress clung to my skin. Sweat trickled down my back. "Someone knows," I said breathlessly. "Someone saw me or took a picture. Emma got a message. They're watching." Her expression darkened immediately. "Who?" she asked. "I don't know." "Did anyone come over? Delivery guy? Neighbor?"
"No."
"No one." She grabbed my shoulders.
"Think, Ryan.
"Have you ever gone outside dressed?" Opened a curtain. I hesitated. "I stood near the window once. But it was dark. I thought." "You thought no one could see," she snapped. We stood in silence, the weight of danger settling in. My secret wasn't safe anymore. Someone had pierced the bubble. Paranoia sets in. That night, I unplugged my webcam, taped my phone camera, closed every curtain, every blind. I even covered the peephole. I didn't dress up. I didn't even leave my room. The red gown stayed in a box under my bed, like a cursed relic. But it didn't matter, because the messages kept coming. Nice heels. You walk better than most girls I know. Love that pink slip. Got any photos? Don't worry. Your secret's safe with me.
For now.
Every message chipped away at my sanity.
Who was it?
Emma started staying at her sister's. She needed space. Mom grew more protective, locking windows, scanning for strange cars, grilling every person who knocked. And me? I started spiraling. Because I wasn't just scared of who knew. I was scared that, despite everything, I still wanted to dress. The mirror breaks. One night, I stood in front of the mirror, wearing a pale peach chemise and light makeup. My hands trembled. I told myself to take it off, to stop, to protect myself. But I couldn't. Instead, I looked in the mirror and whispered, "Who are you now?" My reflection didn't answer. And then the lights flickered. I spun around, heart racing. Silence. But on my bed, my phone was lit up. One new message. "You're not alone tonight." My skin crawled. I grabbed the phone, hands shaking. I ran to the window, yanked back the curtain. Across the street, in a parked black car, I saw the faint glow of a lit cigarette. Then it flicked out. I dropped the curtain. My heart pounded like it wanted out of my chest. That glow, that cigarette, it wasn't in my head. Someone had been watching. From the street, right across from our house. I stumbled back from the window, grabbing my phone. The message was still there, taunting me. "You're not alone tonight." I deleted it. 5 seconds later, another one. "Don't worry. I like what I see." That was it. I turned off the phone, dropped it on the dresser, and backed away like it might bite. I looked down at myself, peach chemise, smooth legs, flushed cheeks from the light blush I'd applied. My hair was tucked into one of Mom's brown shoulder-length wigs.
Who was I right now?
More importantly, who knew? Mom's plan. She didn't ask questions when she saw my face that night. Just guided me into the kitchen, sat me down, and handed me a glass of water. "We need to talk about what comes next," she said softly. I could barely nod. "I can't make this decision for you, Ryan. But we can't keep pretending you're safe. Someone's watching. They know. And if they're bold enough to text you, they might be bold enough to knock."
"Or post something," I said.
My voice cracked.
She paused.
"Yes." Silence fell between us. I could hear the fridge humming, the faint tick of the kitchen clock. Every sound suddenly felt too loud. "I don't want to stop," I whispered. "But I'm scared." "I know. I don't want to live a lie." She reached over and squeezed my hand. "Then maybe it's time we stop hiding." I looked at her, wide-eyed. "You mean tell people?" "Not the whole world," she said. "But maybe the right people. Maybe Emma." She already left. She didn't say it was forever. I wasn't sure. And I didn't have time to think about it. Because 2 minutes later, someone knocked on the front door. The knock was soft. Too soft. We both froze. Mom stood slowly. Her eyes met mine. "Stay here." She went to the door. I waited behind the kitchen counter, barely breathing. "Hello." I heard her say through the crack. No answer. Then a folded envelope slid under the door. Mom waited until the footsteps faded, then picked it up and brought it to me. On the front it read, "For Ryan." My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside, a printed photo.
Me.
Standing at the mirror. In the red nightgown. The photo had been taken from outside, through the bedroom window. And scrawled on the back in ink, "I can help you become who you really are. You'll hear from me soon. A friend." I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the picture until my eyes burned. It should have felt like a threat. Maybe it was. But the words, "help you become who you really are." What if it wasn't a threat at all? What if this stranger, this friend, was offering something I'd secretly wanted all along? But at what cost? The next morning, I told Mom everything. "I think someone's going to try to reach out again," I said. "They might want something." "Then we shut it down," she said. But deep down, I didn't know if I wanted to. Because part of me was afraid. And part of me was curious. And part of me, a big part, wanted to see where this road would lead. Even if it was dangerous. Even if it meant losing Emma. Even if it meant losing everything. The last message. 2 days later, just after sunset, my phone buzzed.
It was a video file.
I stared at the screen for a long time before tapping play. The video was short, blurry, just 6 seconds. It showed someone walking into a dimly lit room, holding one of my dresses. A voice, disguised, synthetic, whispered, "Come find me, princess."